All right, let's cut right to it. No fluff, no wasted time. You're here because you're serious about building a real career in the cloud. I'm here to give you the architect's briefing, the exact execution plan to get you job ready in 6 months. This isn't theory. This is your mission starting now. So pay close attention.
First things first, a quick gut check. What's a DNS server really for? Its primary job is to translate the names we can actually remember, like google.com, into the IP addresses that computers need to talk to each other. It's basically the phone book for the entire internet. If you don't get this, nothing else works. It's an absolute non-negotiable.
Okay, next one, Linux. You're sitting in front of a terminal and you need to lock down a file. What's the command? Is it chown or chmod? You got it, it's chmod for change mode. You absolutely have to be comfortable on the command line because pretty much the entire cloud runs on Linux. You need to speak the language of the environment.
Last question. Imagine you have to do something 100 times. Are you really going to sit there and type the same command over and over? Or do you script it? Could you, right now, write a simple for loop in Bash? This simple idea is the very beginning of automation. And hey, if you paused on any of these, that's actually great. It tells us exactly where our foundation needs to be built. See, that little quiz wasn't just for kicks. It shines a light on the bedrock. Before you ever dream of touching a cloud console, these fundamentals have to be second nature. This is the big mistake so many people make. They try to build a skyscraper on sand. We're not going to do that. We're building on solid rock.
Let's make networking simple. You've got TCP and you've got UDP. Think of it this way. TCP is like sending a registered letter. You get confirmation it arrived, everything's in order. It's reliable. UDP? That's like throwing a postcard in the mail. It's way faster, but there's no guarantee it even gets there. Knowing when to use which, reliability versus speed, is a core part of designing any system.
And here are 2 more you absolutely have to know. A load balancer? It's just a traffic cop for your servers. It makes sure no single server gets buried in requests. And a security group? That's the bouncer at the front door of your server. It checks the list and decides who gets in and who gets out. See? They're not scary concepts. They're incredibly powerful tools.
Remember that loop question from our gut check? This is exactly why it matters. You could type 100 commands by hand, which is slow, boring, and you're bound to mess it up. Or you write one single line of code that does it perfectly every single time. That right there, that's the automation mindset. It starts with something as simple as a bash script.
All right, with those fundamentals getting solid, it is time to make your first big strategic decision. Which cloud do you focus on? And this is critical because our goal isn't just to learn, it's to get you that first job fast. You don't need to know every platform. You need to be a master of the one the market wants most.
So how do we pick? We don't guess, we follow the data. Just look at the market share. Amazon Web Services, AWS, is the dominant player. And what does more market share mean? It means more companies, which means more jobs, especially for people just starting out. We're playing the odds to get you hired, and right now, the odds are overwhelmingly with AWS. Now, that's not to say the other guys aren't fantastic. Azure is an absolute powerhouse in big companies, especially ones that are already all in on Microsoft. And Google Cloud, or GCP, is a beast when it comes to data and machine learning. But for your first job, you want the widest possible target to aim for. AWS is by far the biggest door into the industry.
Okay, let's talk about the single most important thing that will get you hired. It is not a piece of paper. It is proof. Proof that you can actually build things. Your GitHub profile becomes your resume. Your projects are your value. This is what separates the people who get interviews from the ones who don't.
I mean, just look at this. A hiring manager has 2 resumes. One has a basic cert, the other has a link to a GitHub repo with a real working project they can see. Who gets the call? It's not even close. The project proves you have hands-on skill, you can solve problems, and you have initiative. A certification just proves you can pass a test.
So these are your first 3 missions. This is the portfolio that gets you in the door. First, you'll deploy a simple Python web app to a virtual server. That proves you get the basics. Second, you build a serverless application. This shows you're up to date with modern, efficient architectures. And finally, you'll take an app, put it in a Docker container, and deploy it to Kubernetes. That shows you can handle the complex, scalable systems that serious companies use. Each project tells a story of your journey.
And this is how you're going to do it. All that Python you're learning, it's not for theory. You'll use it with libraries like Bodo 3 to command AWS with code. This is it, right here. A few simple lines of Python telling AWS to upload a file to storage. This is what we mean by automation. And that brings us to a huge shift in mindset. A real cloud career isn't about clicking buttons in a web browser. Anyone can do that. It's about thinking like an architect, designing systems for resilience and efficiency, and then automating everything. You're not training to be a console clicker, you're training to be an engineer.
I mean, just look at this. This is the old way, clicking through screen after screen after screen just to set up a basic network. It's slow, it's tedious, and if you mess up one little checkbox on step 3, you might not find out until the very end. You can't repeat it reliably, and you sure can't scale it.
Now, look at the new way. A single, clean script. This is infrastructure as code, using a tool called Terraform. This block of text defines your entire network. It's easy to read, you can track changes to it, and you can deploy it all or tear it all down with one single command. That is real power.
And let's put a hard number on that. We are talking about a 95% time savings. That's not a small improvement. That is a revolutionary change in how you work. This is the kind of impact that companies pay top dollar for.
So, learning all this isn't just about getting that first job. It's about building a long-term, high-value career. Let's look at what that path actually looks like, in terms of both what you do and what you can earn.
Here's a pretty typical path. You'll start out as a cloud engineer, doing the hands-on building and managing. Once you master automation, that path leads you right into a DevOps engineer role. And after a few years of that, you can move up to cloud architect, where you're the one designing the massive systems that the engineers build. And yeah, every single step comes with a pretty serious jump in your salary.
But what's the real difference in the day-to-day work? Well, the engineer lives in the command line, watching dashboards, deploying infrastructure. They're the builders. The architect, they live in design documents, in cost reports, and high-level strategy meetings. They draw the blueprints. But you have to master being the builder before you can draw the blueprints.
All right, we have covered the what and the why. Now let's get to the how. This is it, your mission for the next 6 months. A clear, actionable, week-by-week plan to take you from zero to job ready.
Here is the plan. Months 1 and 2, you do nothing but build that solid rock foundation. Linux, networking, and Python. Month 3, you go deep into core AWS services. Month 4 is all about projects. You start building. Month 5, you add your force multipliers. Terraform for automation and Docker for containers. Then in month 6, you polish everything. Get that first certification to seal the deal, and you start applying with a killer portfolio that does the talking for you.
And that concludes the briefing. You have the map, you have the mission. The only thing left is for you to take that first step. Your mission starts right now with a choice. Do you want to see the detailed, day-by-day study schedule to get started immediately? Or are you ready to see the full roadmap for those portfolio projects? The choice is yours. It's time to execute.